Welcome back. This is the firm. Siemens, United Spirits, Maruti. In the last 6 months, minority shareholders have made their voices heard loud and clear. And that's thanks to the new power given to them by the Companies Act 2013 and SEBI's Clause 49. While maybe too loud and too clear for the comfort of promoters, the majority, it seems, now feels like the minority, prompting the government to amend certain related party transaction provisions in the brand new Act. Payaswini Upadhyay reports on the biggest change proposed by the Companies Act Amendment Bill.
In November last year, Siemens India proposed to sell the company's metal technologies business to its German parent. Since the proposal was a related party transaction, it required approval of minority shareholders via a special resolution. The minority shareholders rejected the offer price as low. Consequently, Siemens Germany revised the offer price from 857 crores to 1,023 crores. In the case of United Spirits, last month, minority shareholders rejected as many as 9 related party transactions with Malia entities. Just last week, Maruti reportedly decided to postpone seeking shareholder approval for its Gujarat plant. Maruti proposes to allow its parent Suzuki to build the plant, a proposal that has been opposed by investors and proxy advisory firms ever since Maruti first announced it. The wait may be worth Maruti's while. This week, the Lok Sabha passed an amendment to Section 188 of the Companies Act, which requires related party transactions to be approved by 75% of unrelated shareholders present and voting. Once amended, the special resolution will be replaced by an ordinary resolution, that is, a resolution requiring approval from more than 50% unrelated shareholders present and voting.
With the lower threshold, what we believe is that some of this dialogue and some of the information which is going to shareholders might just come down, which is not a good sign. What you want is, you're not asking companies to give confidential information or something which is going to impact them strategically. But certainly, if you're selling a business, the shareholder is entitled to know what the turnover of the business is, whether it's profitable or not. You just cannot say that, look, this is a business, we've decided it's not core to us and we are selling it. So what you don't want to lose through this lower threshold is the flow of information from companies to investors, nor do you want to stop what I believe is a healthy dialogue which has happened. So if we were to just look at what, give this by way of example. So a few weeks back, United Spirits had a special resolution for doing certain related party transactions with Diageo. You look at the resolution which was proposed the first time and you look at the resolution which has been hosted on the website yesterday, there is certainly a difference in the kind of information, the quality of information.
I have a slightly different view in this matter. My view is that if you look at Siemens case, I think a shareholder holding 2.5% of the shareholding could block the corporate restructuring scheme. Special resolution, you need to understand in the context that it's minority shareholders which are voting and 51% of minority or 75% of the minority. The concern I have is that if you keep a special resolution, I've seen instances where a very small group of shareholders holding 2% or 3% of shareholding is able to block the resolution because not all shareholders vote on postal ballot or on in shareholders meeting or by e-voting. So ideally, I would like to see the law that those shareholders who did not vote should have deemed to have given their consent. Otherwise, you will have this problem of a small group holding 2% and 3% blocking the entire scheme. I don't think it's a very significant dilution. Again, 51% is of approval is of minority shareholders. It's not of promoter group.
Even if the Companies Act gets amended, listed companies will not be able to avail the benefits of a less stringent threshold. And that's because Clause 49 of the listing agreement currently mandates a special resolution for material transactions, in which only unrelated party shareholders are permitted to vote. SEBI defines material as transactions exceeding 10% of annual turnover. It's not clear if SEBI will align its Clause 49 with the company law amendment or retain a higher threshold. If it chooses to align, that may mean fewer number of transactions going to the shareholders for approval.
you're right, that may mean that lesser transactions are going to minority shareholders under the listing agreement. But again, I think, the difference between 5% or 10%, I still think it will cover most of the transactions somebody's trying to cover in this. The threshold at which those transactions get approved, the proposed bill says ordinary resolution of the minority. The listing agreement says special resolution of the minority. And I think those will have to probably sink in with each other.
Having got used to 75, I'm not happy about a rollback, but if we hadn't gone to a 75% or the special resolution threshold, but said that, look, you need majority of minority investors, I guess 6 months back we would have taken it. At this moment, we find it difficult, primarily because I do expect that it's going to impact the information flow. I also expect that there is not going to be a dilution as far as interested party is concerned.
If you completely prevent all the related parties from voting, there may be a situation of a joint venture where one shareholder is interested and another is not interested, but both are related parties. When you prevent the other shareholder from voting, there won't be anybody else because it's a two-party joint venture. So I think we need to provide certain carve-outs if we are going to provide that all related parties should not vote.
Two other amendments pertaining to related party transactions align the Companies Act with Clause 49. The first one allows audit committees to grant an omnibus approval for RPTs, and the second one exempts related party transactions between holding companies and their wholly owned subsidiaries from the requirement of approval of non-related shareholders.
The audit committee being empowered to give an omnibus approval. So this is an area where the Act is now getting aligned to Clause 49. And in fact, both Clause 49 as well as the Act, in a sense, now kind of has codified what is emerging to be the practice among corporates. Because obviously to get a pre-approval for every single transaction would have been a challenge, and therefore corporates were essentially putting together all routine transactions into one bunch, and based on each counterparty they were kind of documenting what is the transaction price, the methodology, the rationale for the transaction, and getting an omnibus approval. And that's how they were starting to kind of comply with the rigorous requirements. And in a way, the both Clause 49 and now this amendment have kind of codified that practice into the law itself. So I think that's a good change that's kind of come through.
One of the observations we have when we look at what has happened over the last 12 to 18 months is companies have started using their 100% subsidiaries to push through transactions. So one which did gain a lot of attention from not just investors but also media is when Kane Energy gave money to a group company. The way it was routed was the money was first transferred to a 100% subsidiary, and the 100% subsidiary then lent to the group company. So the approval the 100% subsidiary took was from the parent and not from its shareholders. So the point I'm making at this stage is that it is subject to getting abused, and that is what we need to watch out for.
I think the wholly owned subsidiary does not have a minority shareholder to worry about. You're really talking about then is the minority shareholder at the holding company, going to be is going to suffer. And I think the answer to that is really, if it's a wholly owned subsidiary, then the entire benefits of that subsidiary are flowing in to the minority shareholder at the holding company. There is no other minority shareholder at the subsidiary level. It's a wholly owned subsidiary. It's a mirror of the holding company in which if you are holding shares. So I actually don't see that as being an issue in terms of that. I actually think it just makes life a little easier for corporate India without compromising on the basic principle, which is protection of minority.
Shareholder activists are hoping that SEBI maintains a higher threshold for RPT approval under Clause 49. Besides RPT, most of the changes in the Companies Act Amendment Bill seek to iron out procedural issues and facilitate ease of doing business. But one more amendment merits special mention, and that is reporting of fraud by auditors. The existing provisions require all frauds to be reported to the central government. The amended section will require reporting of only material frauds to the government. All frauds below the prescribed threshold will need to be reported only to the audit committee and disclosed in the board's report. In Mumbai, Payaswini Upadhyay.
And with that, we're entirely out of time on this edition of The Farm. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next week with our special year-end episode.